How do you imagine yourself spending your 101st birthday? For most of us, it's likely to be a pretty quiet affair. But then most of us aren't World War II veteran Bernard Gardiner. He celebrated 101 years on this earth by taking to the air in the world's only two-seater Hawker Hurricane, a plane he used to fly during the war, but hasn't flown in more than 80 years. The flight, which took place at Duxford Airfield, was organised by the Hawker Typhoon Preservation Group, an organisation dedicated to rebuilding and flying a Hawker Typhoon, a British single-seat fighter bomber. And it was the perfect way to celebrate Bernard's birthday and to thank him for the role he's played in helping the organisation fundraise. Chocks away.
Bernard, happy birthday, happy 101st birthday.
Yes.
I
Thank you.
was going to get you a birthday card, but we arranged for you to fly
I
in
think
the Hurricane again.
I really appreciate
Good.
having that. Not the same on the mantelpiece, but
No.
so,
And how was the flight?
oh, really enjoyable. Really great to feel up there in a hurricane and do a stoop turn and run the clouds.
Yeah,
Yes,
beautiful,
yes,
beautiful. And the last time you flew a Hurricane was in July 1944.
Yes,
That's a few years ago.
quite a few years ago.
So
isn't it?
how was it coming back to the Hurricane now after all those years?
Yes, I really enjoyed it. I felt quite at home.
The Hawker Typhoon Preservation Group has been running for 7 years as a small all-volunteer charity, and their aim is to raise the funds required to return an original Hawker Typhoon to the skies. The group has the significant remains of RB396, a genuine combat veteran example of a Hawker Typhoon which was shot down behind enemy lines on the 1st of April 1945. They want to rebuild the plane and get it in flight as a living, breathing memorial to the servicemen and the pilots who gave their lives during the Second World War. We caught up with the project director, Sam Worthington-Leese, to find out a bit more about the restoration and fundraising work his team have been doing to bring the aircraft back to life.
My name's Sam Worthington-Leese. I am the project director and a trustee with the Hawker Typhoon Preservation Group. So we've been planning this showcase event for the 1st of April, which is the date that our aircraft, RB396, was shot down in 1945. And the idea is to showcase the project to interested guests, companies, media, who might have an interest in supporting us and spread the word really about what we're doing, which is to try to rebuild a Hawker Typhoon and get it flying again.
The Hawker Typhoon was first introduced on the 11th of September 1941, and it became instrumental in ground attack missions during World War II.
It was designed as an interceptor fighter to replace the Hurricane and even the Spitfire. It didn't perform particularly well in that role, and so it was morphed into a ground attack role, and it became the RAF's first dedicated ground attack aircraft of the war. Some historians have credited the Hawker Typhoon with shortening the war and saving countless thousands of lives in the process. Allied generals and even German generals at the time credited the Typhoon with allowing the Allies to break out of Normandy and ultimately win the Battle of Normandy after the D-Day invasions. The work was really dangerous. So dangerous that 56% of pilots that flew the aircraft were killed. That doesn't include those that were shot down, captured, becoming prisoners, those that were wounded, sometimes really seriously. And research suggests that that number is 666 pilots. And they were killed flying the Typhoon. And there's no memorial to them anywhere. And we feel they deserve one. And we want the memorial to take the shape of an aeroplane, like a living, breathing, working and flying Hawker Typhoon, so that when it flies, and it will, it's just a case of time and money, but when it flies, it will fly in all of their memory. We've all got our own personal connections to it. My grandfather flew Typhoons during the war. He got shot down, force landed, ended up as a prisoner of war in Stalag 3. I've got parts of the aircraft he was flying on that day, and we're hoping to incorporate them into this rebuild. And so it's really important to me personally. But on a sort of wider level, it's that memorial that we feel these guys and some girls are missing, and that they really, really deserve. We've got Bernard here today. He's 101 years old in 5 days' time. He flew the Typhoon during the war. He did 71 combat operations. And all he really says about it, you have to really tease the stories out of him, but he says, I didn't really do anything, I was just doing my job. And then you dig a bit deeper, and then he'll start telling you about the flak and how heavy light flak is. And the fact that one day he was flying along and his wingman just suddenly exploded. And all these stories, and you think, that's not just doing a job, Bernard, that's more than that. So there's not many of them left with first-hand experience of what that was like. So I think it's important for us, everyone, at the very least, to just remember what they did. But if you don't create some way of facilitating that memory, then it's going to disappear. As they all pass on, which unfortunately they will, if there's no direct link and then nothing physical to remember it, no records kept, it will just disappear. And all their sacrifices then will be in vain, and that's just not right.
You flew the Spitfire before,
Yes.
a couple of years ago, because you didn't fly that during the war. And you weren't able to loop the Spitfire, but today you looped the Hurricane.
Yes. Goes round so beautifully. So, yes.
And did it bring back memories for you?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Good ones?
Oh, all good ones.
Good.
Yes. Because I enjoyed flying the aeroplane, it changed my career in the Air Force, because I was detailed to go out and practice forced landings in the Tiger, and but that was no fun for me. So I went and read up in the RAF manuals flying how to do loops, and so I quite practiced in doing loops all on my own. And then comes a time when I was due to start doing aerobatics officially with an instructor, and he did a loop with me following through on the controls, and he said, right, now you do a loop. So I did a loop and did the perfect loop where you hit the slipstream you made on the way up, on the way back down again. And he said, do that again. So I did it again and hit the slipstream. He said, you're for fighters.
And after the Hurricane, Bernard, you went on to fly the Typhoon.
Typhoon.
Operationally, 71 combat operations in the Typhoon.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
We've spoken about that before, and it's absolutely fascinating. What does it mean to you to know that we are returning a Hawker Typhoon to the air? Because there aren't none. Yes. Are you looking forward to it? How does it make you feel to know that?
Yes. Oh, I would love to see it. I'd love to fly it, but I don't think they'll let me do that.
We can have a word. We can have a word.
Well, but it would be really great to see and hear a Typhoon flying again.
One of the things that was so unique about the Hawker Typhoon was the sound of its engine. The noise produced by the plane was incredibly different to that of other aircrafts at the time. This was because the Typhoon had an H-24-cylinder Napier Sabre engine, where most planes had Griffin or Merlin engines, which were nothing like as powerful as the Sabre.
Inside you can't hear, it's just white noise. But outside I think it'll be very different. Everybody's used to the V12 of the Merlin and then the slightly more growly V12 of the Griffin, but this is an H-24, a much higher revving. Those that have memories of it say it's a more high-pitched sound, so really sort of interested to see that or hear that. Let's see what that sounds like.
What would you say to anyone thinking of supporting our efforts to rebuild a Typhoon and perhaps considering making a donation? Would you urge them to do that?
Oh, yes, I would urge them to do that because it's really worthwhile project. And it really is worth making a donation, a nice large one, to get the airplane flying again. Brilliant.
And thank you very much, Bernard. Thank you for being here today, this weekend.
Really has been my pleasure. And thanks.
Honestly, no, it has been ours. So thank you for coming and a safe journey home. And we'll see you next time. We'll start planning your 102nd birthday right away.
Yes, we will indeed.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. A truly unforgettable day, filled with history, honour, and the power of human spirit. The Hawker Typhoon Preservation Group's work goes beyond restoring and flying these magnificent machines. They are also custodians of history, preserving the memories of those who fought for our freedom. We owe it to the brave heroes like Bernard to keep their stories alive and honour the legacy that they've left behind. If you'd like to support the restoration project, please follow the link in our description. Thanks for watching this video on the History Hit YouTube channel. You can subscribe right here to make sure you don't miss any of our great films that are coming out. Or if you are a true history fan, check out our special dedicated history channel, historyhit.tv. You're going to love it.